Hey, Dee here from the Chaotic Gardener. I'm just going to be finally planting my hydrangea that I got for my birthday from my children. But it means that I have to dig out a hibiscus. I'm gonna turn the camera now and show you where I'm planning on planting. Okay, excuse the tools and things in the place. That's my chaos. Here we have decided to make this entire section along here a hydrangea hedge of some kind that will fit nicely under the window. But our hydrangeas here do tend to take a while to grow nice and big, and we have to remove this hibiscus. I'm going to cut. It's not looking very great either, so maybe it'll be a good thing. Probably not going to be chopping it back at the right time of the year, but anyway, I need to get my hydrangea in the ground. So let's get rid of some of the chaos. This is an eggplant that I have potted up for a friend who's desperate to grow, and look, she's going to get a little baby that goes with it. That will go with me to work on Monday. Holidays are coming to an end and I have not got nearly as much done as I hoped to do, but it's okay. I needed the break and the time of rest. Okay, so tools we're going to use, we're going to start with these hedge clippers, and then I have this, which we might need to use, but I think it might damage some of the branches a little bit, and then obviously a spade so that we can dig it out. It's currently extremely warm, hot and humid, so let's get that out the way and let's get to it. Going to be cutting quite a substantial amount off of this, but that is so that it doesn't get too much of a shock when we dig it out and rehome it. So it really should bounce back, and this has grown quite quickly. I may or may not be doing the right thing here. Completely ignoring the fact that there's lots of new growth on this. Whoops. Okay, so that was pretty easy. I didn't need to saw anything. I have tried to do my cuts just above areas where I can see new growth, with the thought process there being it's getting enough energy to that new growth, and hopefully it will bush out once it has been watered in and settled into its new home, which, by the way, I haven't decided on where that's going to be just yet. Okay, and now for the digging, my least favorite part of this. I'm not afraid of hard work and I will dig if I have to, but definitely is the part where you work up quite a sweat. Actually, my least favorite part is taking everything that I've pulled apart and putting it away on a compost heap or somewhere. By the time you finish doing the fun part of the job, the cleanup is yuck. Well, in my opinion anyway. So, luckily with all the rain we've been having, the ground is extremely soft. So, it's not going to be as bad as I thought. I'm gonna fall. I can just see it. Big thick root down there. I'm just snipping off some side roots here. It seem to be going across. Holding thumbs that it is okay. And won't kill the plant. This is when you realize how intense the root structures are of plants, and when you see trees falling down in storms and being taken out by forces of nature and floods and things like that, you realize that those natural disasters must be extremely hectically intense to cause that kind of damage. Right, I think I'm going to ask for the troops to come and help me pull. Just don't have the muscle power. My eyelids are sweating. Oh, nice muscle power. Look at that. Now we need to rehome this, but first let's get our hydrangea in the ground.
Another fine cameo by Rob.
Woohoo! Thank you, Rob. I love it when he helps me in the garden. And to say thanks to him, I will be sure to clean up all my paths. That's a fair trade. So I have this very small old bag of hydrangea food, and I'm going to pop it in the hole there. pH of your soil determines the color of your hydrangea. A pink and a white, and we wanted a blue, which we have. Hydrangeas do prefer more acidic soil. That is my understanding. So this hydrangea food is supposed to mix up with water, but chaotic laziness. I'm just gonna put sprinkling in there. I also use this on my blueberry bush every now and then, just stick a little bit around the bottom. I think I can owe the growth this year to that. Maybe they're just not in a happy place where I've seen them before, but in this neighborhood where we do have them, they've kind of taken years just to get about this high. However, mine over here, as I said earlier on, has grown quite quickly, so that's positive. And that was what I did when I bought these other two. I bought ones that were already a fairly decent size rather than starting off with teeny tiny babies. Soil is very nice over here in this section. So while we're in this section, I'm just going to do a quick cleanup, and then we're going to chat a little bit more about hydrangeas. So here is the mess that I do promise to clean up. So let's learn a little bit about hydrangeas. There are over 70 different types of hydrangeas. That just blows my mind, but they come in under like 6 categories, if I'm correct. There's the big leaf hydrangea, the climbing hydrangea, the mountain hydrangea, the panicle hydrangeas, the oak leaf hydrangeas, and the smooth hydrangeas. The hydrangeas that we get here in South Africa are the big leaf hydrangeas, the macrophyllias, and we do get oak leaf hydrangeas as well. I am super keen to get my hands on a panicular hydrangea. From the little that I do know, and I will research some more now, they seem to be quite hardy and can do well in full sun. And they also seem to, on the channels that I watch, grow much quicker than our hydrangeas. So I would love to get my hands on one of those. Their flowers are more like a triangular cone shape as opposed to the big round shape of the hydrangeas that we find here in South Africa. So in South Africa, we need to remember that our hydrangeas prefer partial shade to full sun. They can be planted in full sun, but then they would need to have protection from the afternoon heat because they don't really like that. Also, the soil should be kept moist, but should be well draining, so not very boggy conditions. Our hydrangeas colouring are usually white, greens, pinks, blues, and like a purpley, and do also get the reddy colour hydrangeas, although I've only seen them once out when I was out and about. Hydrangeas usually bloom in summer, however some of them will bloom in earlier in the season. My one that I slipped has had a bloom on it pretty much the entire winter, summer, spring and autumn. I've had at least one bloom going. Maybe that's because here in South Africa our temperatures are warm even in winter, or maybe it's just been that this last winter that we did have, it was extremely warm. The big leaf hydrangeas color will depend on the pH of the soil. So more acidic means that they will be more on the blue range, and less acidic means that they will pick up the pink. The white hydrangeas, interestingly enough, are not affected by the pH of the soil. That's very interesting. So on the blue hydrangea that I planted earlier on, the tag said that the pH of the soil will determine the intensity of the blue. So I had heard that the color of a hydrangea is generally dependent on the acidity. So now from research it's saying that actually that is the case. So even though it's blue, if I maintain that soil and keep it as acidic as possible, so I give that one extra food, then hopefully it will keep its blue color. And by that same token, too much powder on the pink one, it should maintain its pink color, and then the white one will just stay white. So then I will have all three like I want. So that's good to know. And when it comes to pruning the hydrangeas here in South Africa, you shouldn't cut them right back. They take so long to grow anyway. I would hate to do that. You can trim off spent blooms just above a new growth area. Otherwise just let them do their thing and fall off by themselves. So if you are going to prune it back, if you want to maintain its shape or something, make sure that you are pruning it just above a new set of leaves. Don't take it all the way down to the ground again, because you will be starting from scratch. So if you manage to plant your hydrangeas in the right place and they are super happy, they are pretty resistant to most types of diseases and pests. So that's a winner. Hopefully my hydrangea hedge grows nicely. So the next variety that I want to chat about is the oak leaf hydrangea. These you can grow in South Africa. They are more common in the colder regions, so more inland than here by the coast. They are known for their leaves that look very much like an oak leaf. You get these beautiful cone-like blooms that change color throughout the season. So they start off white and then go to green and eventually end in like a pinky maroon color towards the end of their life, their growing life. So those would be lovely to grow, also make beautiful hedges. So the oak leaf hydrangea also prefers to be planted in partial shade and also well draining soil. For the oak leaf hydrangea, if you are wanting to prune it for shape or to take off old blooms, you need to do that at the end of summer after the bloom is spent. So if you leave it too long, new buds are going to start forming and you're going to be removing that when you're pruning. The paniculata hydrangea or panicle hydrangea is the one that I want to get my hands on, and it is not affected by the pH of the soil. So the flowers, if they are pink, they're going to stay pink. They change. They start off sometimes with like a creamy white and then it becomes a pinky color and changes like that. But if it is a pink one, it's going to be a pink one and it's not going to change because of the pH of the soil. And these are known for their beautifully big cone-shaped blooms, and they will bloom throughout the summer. And the distinguishing feature of this paniculata or panicle hydrangeas is that they bloom on new wood, which means you can take it right down at the end of a season because it's going to regrow again the next season, and that is what I want. So that is one of my goals for the year, is to get one of these in my garden. They are also cold hardy, so in places where it snows or it's freezing, they do survive, and so they are not annuals, they are perennials. The climbing hydrangea. The climbing hydrangea has all the same characteristics of the other hydrangeas. They grow extremely slowly, so it is going to be a thing that you're going to have to be patient about, but also they partial shade, well draining soil, don't prune back to the ground, especially if it's a slow growing thing, because it's never going to get to the height and give you the show that you want. And obviously because it's a climbing hydrangea, you're going to want to train it over trellis or something so that it gives you the spectacular show. Interestingly, the climbing hydrangea is also used by people as a ground cover, which makes sense. So the suckers are going to take root wherever they touch a surface. So if you're going to use it as a ground cover, that could also be beautiful and would also help cut down on weeds. Next up, we have the smooth hydrangea, or and I have heard this name before, the Hydrangea arborescens. This is a fast-growing hydrangea and spreads over a large area, so it's often used in areas where there is quite intense soil erosion. So that's very interesting. Maybe I need one of these to go up on my top garden to prevent erosion there. The smooth hydrangea is one of the hardiest hydrangeas in very cold temperatures. If it gets very, very cold for them, they will die back, but will come back again. So it's quite nice if you live in those minus conditions. And finally, we have the mountain hydrangea, or Hydrangea serrata. They were originally founded in the mountainous areas of Korea and Japan, also known as the tea of heaven. So I'm going to read what they say about this hydrangea. I'm not familiar with it. The flowers bloom in a lace cap form with a central cluster of tiny fertile flowers surrounded by a ring of larger sterile flowers. The color of the flowers can be pink, blue or purple, depending again on the soil's acidity. Acidic soils produce blue flowers, while non-acidic soils produce the pink flowers, the same as with the macrophylla. Oh, this is lovely. It says that the blooms of some cultivars of this hydrangea have the habit of changing color 3 or 4 times in one season. And because this particular hydrangea is quite a small one, it is actually very handy for a small garden. So that's just a little bit of information about the hydrangea. Please do read up a bit more about them if you want to learn more. I must say, growing up, I remember seeing hydrangeas, but they were never well cared for, so they always looked like the bushes were kind of dying. However, as I've got into gardening and become more involved, I've seen beautiful blooms and well cared for and kept hydrangeas, and they make such an impact and such an incredible focal point in the garden. So that's what suckered me into getting them, and as I said, I'm going to try and grow a hedge of them along under my windows in the front garden. Also, they will be a focal area in the vegetable patch. Nice for pollinators. The bees and the butterflies do love them and are keen pollinators of them, so I am really looking forward to growing this wonderful hedge of hydrangeas. I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit more about them, and if it is your thing, go out and get yourself a hydrangea and plant it in a partially shady spot and enjoy the blooms. Rob is helping me. He's carrying the hibiscus to the top garden. We have decided that we're going to plant it there in our park-like area. It might need more sun, but we'll find a spot where it actually does get sun. And I have started to clean the piles. I think we're going to put it in this spot here. We will see what happens. See, Rob got tired and just left it there. Oh, this ground is not as soft as the ground in the front. This is the right shovel. And there you have it. The pile has gone and I kept my promise. Wow, it looks quite bare at the moment, but that will fill in. Now, she's looking lovely. So is she, so is she. is there a better way to be than with dirty hands, hot and sweaty and in the garden. Thank you for spending the time with me as I dug up that hibiscus, got it replanted and planted in my hydrangeas. Hopefully this little fence grows, or this little hedge grows super quickly and fills in this area. And then I do have plans to include 2 more beds, so hopefully that happens sometime this year. Hopefully you've learned something new about hydrangeas and all the different types that you get. Hopefully I will be able to get my hands on a paniculata sometime. And until then, do continue to spend time with me. And if you are enjoying any of my videos, please subscribe so that we can grow and learn together. Until next week, have a good one.